Rubble, R-U-B-B-L-E. Rubble means the fragments or detritus, D-E-T-R-I-T-U-S, or the debris, D-E-B-R-I-S. Rubric means title or heading in red print. Rubric also means directions for religious ceremonies. Another meaning for the word rubric is protocol in ordaining the new priests, the procedures. Therefore, rubric means a title in red color, directions for a religious ceremony, and protocol. That means etiquette for ordaining new priests or whatsoever, it is procedures. Ruddy means reddish or healthy looking. Rudimentary knowledge means not fully developed, elementary, crude. To rue, R-U-E, means to regret, lament, or moan over something, feel guilty. Ruffian means a bully or a scoundrel. Okay, rueing an error. When you do an error, you rue about it, you regret about it. Ruminate means to chew over and over, like a cow. Or it also means to mull over and ponder, think over something. Rummage means to ransack or thoroughly search. A runic is a mysterious thing, or it is an alphabet, an ancient alphabet which is very difficult to interpret now. A ruse is a trick or a stratagem, a machination, a ploy, a conspiracy. Rustic means pertaining to country people. Uncouth, boorish and churlish and not so refined. Antonym is urbane. To rusticate means to banish to the country or dwell in the country. Also, to rusticate means to throw out of a college. Ruthless means pitiless, cruel, without any sympathy. Ruth means sympathy. A saboteur is one who commits sabotage, a destroyer of property. Saccharine means cloyingly sweet, very sweet. Saccharine is a byproduct of petroleum refinery, which is supposed to be 300 times sweeter than sugar. Saccharine here means cloyingly sweet. Sacrilegious means desecrating, profane. Sacrosanct means most sacred, inviolable. Sadistic people are inclined to cruelty. They derive pleasure by inflicting pain on others. A saga is a lengthy narrative in prose. Sagacious means very perceptive, shrewd, and having insight, like a sage. A sage is a person celebrated for his wisdom. Rishi. That's a Hindi word. Salacious means lascivious and lustful. Salient features are prominent and important features. Saline water is salty. Brackish also means salty. B-R-A-C-K-I-S-H. Sallow means yellowish, sickly in color. Salubrious weather is healthful weather. Salutary effects are beneficial effects, wholesome. To salvage something would be to rescue from loss, recover from danger. Sanctimonious means hypocritical, displaying ostentation, holier than thou, pontifical and pharisaical. Sanction means to approve or ratify. Sanctuary means a refuge, a shelter, a shrine, or a holy place. Sanguinary battles are bloody. A sanguine disposition, on the other hand, would mean very optimistic, roseate, and cheerful, hopeful. To sap, something which will sap you, will undermine your strength, weaken you, and diminish your vitality. Sap also is the juice which you get from the rubber tree or from the plants. Sarcasm is scornful remarks, stinging rebuke. Sardonic means disdainful, sarcastic, and cynical. Sartorial means pertaining to the tailor's profession. If you are sated, that means you are fully satisfied, cloyed. Satellite means a small body revolving around another one, which is a much larger one. Satiate means to satisfy fully. Satire means a form of literature in which irony, sarcasm, and ridicule are employed to attack vice and folly, stupidity. Satirical means mocking. Saturate means to soak thoroughly. Saturnine disposition means gloomy and melancholy disposition. Satire is a half human, half bestial being, and he is very lusty and wanton and cunning. Lustful people can be called as satyrs, but otherwise it's a mythical creature, half goat and half man. Saunter means to stroll slowly. A savant is a scholar. An antonym for that will be ignoramus. Savor means enjoy or savor. It savors of something means it has a distinct flavor or smell or quality. Savory means tasty, pleasing, attractive. A scabbard is a sheath or a case for holding a knife or a sword. A scad is a great quantity, scads of something. Scaffold is a temporary platform for workers. To scale means to climb up, ascend. So the antonym is descend. Scanty means meager, insufficient. A scapegoat is a whipping boy, someone who is blamed for everything. To scavenge means to hunt through discarded materials. Search especially for food. A vulture is a scavenger, eats all the rotten carrion. Carrion is dead and rotting meat. Scenario means a plot outline, a screenplay. An opera libretto. Scenario means a plot outline, screenplay, or a libretto, which is the written down form of an opera. Schematic means relating to an outline or diagram, using a system of symbols. Schism is a division, a split in a political party or any party for that matter. Scintilla is a shred, least bit, not a scintilla of evidence, not even the slightest amount. Scintillate means sparkle, flash. When you're scoffing at something, you're mocking and ridiculing. Scotch, S-C-O-T-C-H, scorching a rebellion means to completely stamp out, hinder and thwart, squelch. Scourge, a scourge is a whip or a lash with which to give severe punishment. A scourge also means a plague or a disease or an affliction, a bane, a cause of suffering, misery. Scruples, a scruple means a qualm or some kind of a principle, ethical reason. So scruple also would mean hesitate for ethical reasons. Scrupulous means conscientious or extremely thorough, meticulous. Scrutinize means to examine closely and critically. A scuffle is a confused fight or a struggle. Scurrilous talk is obscene and indecent. Scurry means to move briskly. Scurvy is an adjective which means despicable, contemptible. Scuttle, S-C-U-T-T-L-E. Scuttle means to sink. The sailors decided to scuttle their vessel rather than surrender it to the enemy. Scuttle, therefore, would mean founder, F-O-U-N-D-E-R. Founder and scuttle means sink. Scuttling somebody's plan would mean to thwart or frustrate. Seamy means sordid, unwholesome. The seamy side of the match-fixing affair means the unwholesome, sordid, corrupt, and dirty, filthy. Searing, a searing heat wave, that means burning, something that will char or brand. Seasoned means experienced. Secession, S-E-C-E-S-S-I-O-N, means withdrawal. Seclusion means isolation or solitude. To secrete means to hide away secretly or cache, C-A-C-H-E. Secrete also means to release a substance, produce or release a substance into an organism. Sect means a separate religious body, a faction. Secular means worldly, not pertaining to the church matters. Antonym is ecclesiastical, which means religious. Secular also means temporal, mundane, pertaining to worldly affairs. Sedate means composed or grave and serious. Sedentary means requiring sitting. Sedentary jobs are bad for your back. Sedition means insubordination or betrayal of one's country. Treachery, resistance to authority. Sedulous people are very diligent and hardworking. A seedy joint means a decrepit, disreputable, rundown, sleazy, sordid, where all kinds of illegal activities are going on. That place is seedy. Seemly means proper, unseemly means improper. Seeping means oozing or trickling. Seething means totally disturbed or boiling. Seething in anger. Seine is a net for catching fish. Seismic means pertaining to earthquakes. A semblance means an outward appearance or a guise. A seminal theory is a germinal theory which influences future developments. It is an authoritative theory. Seminal means related to the seed or semen. Seminary means a school for religious instruction. A seminarian is a teacher there, or a theologian would be teaching there. Senility means old age or feeble-mindedness due to old age, dotage. Sensitization means a process of being made sensitive or acutely responsive to an external agent or substance. Sensual means devoted to the pleasures of the senses, voluptuous or carnal. Sensuous also means pertaining to the physical senses, operating through the senses. Sententious means terse, concise, pithy, aphoristic, gnomic, Gnomic. Sententious also means hypocrisy or hypocritical, moralizing. Sentient means capable of sensation, conscious, aware, and sensitive. A sentinel is a guard or a sentry who is on the lookout. Septic means putrid, producing putrefaction or producing pus. A sepulchre is a tomb. Sequester means isolate or retire from public life. Sequestering the elements means separate, sift or winnow, winnow. Sear means parched or dry. Sear land means which is dry and parched. Serendipity is accidental discovery, accidental good fortune or luck. Serenity means calmness and placidity. Serpentine cues are winding and twisting. Serrated means having a saw-toothed edge, like the edge of a saw. Servile people are slavish and cringing. Servitude means slavery or compulsory labor, bonded labor. Sever means to cut or separate, severing a limb. Severity means the harshness, the intensity, the severity of military discipline, sternness and austerity. Sextant is a navigation tool used to determine a ship's latitude and longitude. A shackle is a fetter or a manacle or a chain or a handcuff. Sham means to pretend. He shammed sickness, that means he was pretending to be sick. A malingerer would sham sickness. Shambles means total mess or wreckage. The whole building was in shambles. A shard is a small fragment, especially of pottery. Potsherd, Potsherd. Potsherd is a shard of pottery with archaeological significance. A shaving is a very thin piece, usually of wood. A sheaf is a bundle of stalks of grain or any bundle of things tied together, like a bale of cotton, a sheaf of papers, something that is bundled together when tied with a string. A sheath. Sheath means to place in a case. Sheathing the dagger, that means putting it in a scabbard. A sherbet is a flavored desert ice or a cool drink with a lot of shaved ice. Shimmer means to glimmer intermittently. Shirk means to avoid responsibility. A malingerer would shirk responsibility. Shoddy goods are not genuine, inferior quality, and sham. A shrew is a scolding woman, a nag. Synonyms are harridan, Harridan, scold, Scold, a common scold. A common scold means a woman who is a nag or a shrew. Termagant, Termagant, termagant. Xanthippe, Xanthippe. Xanthippe was the wife of Socrates, who was a great philosopher. She was a big nag. A virago, Virago, is also a shrew. Shrew also means a rodent, which is known for its ability to gnaw, Gnaw. Gnaw means to nibble or corrode, gradually eat away something. Shrewd, a person who is shrewd is clever and astute. To shun means to keep away. Shunting the engine from one track to another. Shunt means to push from one side to another, divert, sidetrack, or turn aside. A shyster is a lawyer who uses questionable methods to win a case. Sibling means a brother or sister. Sibylline, Sibylline. This is an adjective which means prophetic or oracular. That means prophesizing, predicting the future. A sibyl, Sibyl, is a female soothsayer. Sidereal means pertaining to the stars. Silt is sediment deposited by running water. Simian means like a monkey. Simile is a comparison of one thing with another. Simpering means to smile in a very nervous and affected manner. Simper would also mean smirk, Smirk, which means laugh derisively. Simplistic means something that is oversimplified and therefore not useful. Simplistic is a negative word, mind you, it's not a positive word. A simplistic theory means something that is oversimplified and therefore not practical. Simulate means to feign, Feign, which means to pretend. Dissimulate also means the same, though dis is a negative prefix. Dissimulate means to pretend, simulate means to pretend. Sinecure means a well-paid job with little responsibility. Sinewy means very strong, muscular and tough. Singular means unique, extraordinary or odd. Sinister means evil, nefarious or nefandous, Nefandous. Sinuous paths are winding and bending in and out. Anfractus, Anfractus, Anfractus. A skeptic is one who doubts, who is a doubter, a person who suspends judgment until having examined the evidence supported. A skiff is a small light rowboat or a sailboat. To skimp would mean to provide scantily or live very economically, skimping. A skinflint is a miser, a stingy person. Uncle Scrooge in Donald Duck, Scrooge. Scrooge was a miser. Skirmishes are minor fights without any major consequence or anything. A minor fight is a skirmish. Skittish means very lively or frisky, or it can also mean easily frightened, a skittish horse. Skullduggery means dishonest behavior, corruption. To skulk would mean to move secretly and furtively. Slacken means to loosen or slow up. Slag is the waste material during the processing of metals. It is the dross, dross. It is the residue from smelting metal. Smelting is the processing of metal. Slake means to quench or satisfy thirst. Sate, Sate. Slander means to defame somebody or utter false and malicious statements. Slapdash jobs are very haphazard and careless, sloppy. Sleazy joint means flimsy, unsubstantial. Sleazy also means a fabric that is very thin. Sleeper means something originally of little value or importance, but over time becomes very valuable, a sleeper. This is a term used to describe even terrorists who live in a particular country for a couple of 3 or 4 years without doing anything, and suddenly they become terrorists. Such people are also called sleepers. Anything that remains dormant for some time and then acquires value. Sleight of hand means dexterity, which is the skill of a magician, legerdemain. Slew means a large quantity or number. Slew also means to revolve on a pivot or on a central point. Slew means to kill, if you take it as a verb. Bhima slew the demon. And slew also means The past participle of slough, S-L-O-U-G-H, which means to cast off. The snake slew off its skin. So slew had four meanings. Slew is to kill, slew is a large quantity, slew is to shed off the skin, and slew is to revolve on a point. Slight means an insult to one's dignity, a snub. Slight also, slight amount would mean a small amount. Slipshod work is untidy and slovenly and shabby. To slither means to slip or slide like a snake. Sloth is a slow-moving, tree-dwelling mammal, somewhat similar to a bear. It is in fact a bear. Sloth also means laziness. Slothful is lazy. Slow means to cast off, S-L-O-U-G-H. Slovenly means very untidy, careless and shabby, unkempt, tousled, T-O-U-S-L-E-D. Tousled means unkempt, shabby. Sluggard is a lazy person. Sluggish people are very slow and lazy, lethargic. A sluice is an artificial channel for directing or controlling the flow of water, which is held in a reservoir near a dam. Sluice is the gate in the dam. Slur is an insult to one's character or reputation. Slander. Slur also would mean speak indistinctly, mumble. A drunkard would slur. A smattering of something means a slight amount, slight knowledge of something. Smelt means to melt or blend ores, that is, processing of the ores and changing their chemical composition. Smirk, S-M-I-R-K. Smirk means a conceited smile. Smolder means to burn without flame. Hatred is smoldering. Snicker means a half-stifled laugh. A laugh that is stifled, that is smothered, is a snicker. Snivel means to run at the nose, or snivel also means to whine or complain. Sobriety means moderation, especially regarding indulgence in alcohol. Sobriety would also mean seriousness. Sodden means soaked or dull. Sojourn means a temporary stay. A solace is something that gives you comfort in times of trouble. To solder means to repair or make whole by using metal alloys. Solecism, S-O-L-E-C-I-S-M, is a construction that is incorrect, grammatically incorrect. Solemnity means seriousness or gravity. Now, solecism, for example, instead of saying uncomfortable, you say incomfortable. Then that would be a solecism because it is grammatically incorrect. And even the syntax of a sentence, if there is something wrong, then that would be a solecism. Solemnity means seriousness and gravity. Solicit means to request earnestly, seek. Solicitous means worried or concerned. Solicitous about your health, that means I'm solicitous about your performance in the exam, would mean I'm concerned, I'm worried. Soliloquy is talking to oneself. Solitude is a state of being all alone, seclusion. Solstice is the point at which the sun is farthest from the equator. The winter solstice occurs on December 21st. Soluble means able to be dissolved or able to be worked out. A problem that is soluble would mean it can be worked out. Solvent is able to pay all debts. A person who is solvent will be able to pay his debts. Solvent also means a substance that dissolves in another. Somatic means pertaining to the body or physical. Psychosomatic illnesses are those that start in the psyche, that means the mind, and end up in the body. Mostly. Somber means gloomy, depressing. A somnambulist is a sleepwalker. Ambule means walk, ambulism. So som means sleeping. Somniferous means putting something that puts you to sleep. Somnolent means half asleep. Sonorous means musical, resonant. A sophist is a teacher of philosophy, but the word sophist has a negative connotation. It means a person who employs fallacious reasoning or casuistry. C-A-S-U-I-S-T-R-Y. A sophist also is a quibbler who complains. Sophisticated means worldly wise and urbane. Complex. Sophistry is seemingly plausible but fallacious reasoning. Sophomoric means immature, half-baked. Like a sophomore. Sophomore is a second year student of a college. Soporific means sleep causing. Sordid means filthy, corrupt, base or vile. Spangles are small metallic discs or small star-shaped pieces of metal used as ornamentation. The Star-Spangled Banner is the national anthem of America. Sparse means thinly scattered, scanty. Spartan means lacking luxury and comfort, sternly disciplined. Spasmodic means something that is fitful and periodic, something that happens off and on, does not happen continuously. A spat is a squabble or a minor dispute. Spate means sudden flood or a glut, an excess. Spatial means relating to space. A spatula is a broad-bladed instrument used for spreading or mixing in a kitchen. Spawn means to lay eggs. Specious means seemingly reasonable but incorrect. Specious logic. Spectral means ghostly. A spectre is a ghost. Spectrum is the colored band which is produced when a beam of light passes through a prism. A spendthrift is a person who wastes money. Sphinx-like means enigmatic, mysterious. Sphinx is the name of one of the pyramids in Egypt, and it has the face of a man but the body of a lion, and the expression is believed to be mysterious. So Sphinx-like means enigmatic, mysterious, inscrutable. To splice means to join or fasten together, unite. Spontaneity means lack of premeditation. A spoonerism is an accidental transposition of sounds in successive words. For example, instead of saying, "Pardon me, madam," in a hurry, you might end up saying, "Pardon me, madam," which would be ridiculous. Sporadic means something that is occurring irregularly. Antonym for sporadic would be continuous. Incessant, incessant. Sportive means playful. Sportive also means cheerful. Spruce means to become neat and trim, spruced up, all spruced up. Would mean very nattily dressed or titivating, titivating, vate. To titivate oneself means to give some finishing touches to your makeup and your appearance before you go to an interview. So you're all spruced up. Spry means vigorously active and nimble. Spurious goods are false, counterfeit. To spurn somebody's offer would mean to reject or scorn. A squabble is a minor quarrel, a bickering. Squalor means filth, degradation, or something that is dirty or in a neglected state. To squander means to waste, squandering resources. Squat means stocky, short and thick. Staccato, a staccato rhythm, staccato diction, would mean played in an abrupt manner, marked by abrupt and sharp sounds with breaks in between. The staccato sound of a machine gun. Stagnant means motionless, stale or dull. Staid, S-T-A-I-D, means sober or sedate. A stalemate is a deadlock where there is no scope for solution. Stalwart is a strong person, a brawny person. Steadfast, somebody who is a stalwart is a very strong person, possesses great strength. Stamina is strength and staying power. Stanching the flow of blood would mean to check the hemorrhage. Hemorrhage means bleeding. To check the flow of blood, stanch. Stanza is a division of a poem. Static means something that is unchanging, lacking development. The antonym for static would be dynamic. Statute means a law enacted by the legislature. Statutory means created by statute or legislative action. Steadfast people are loyal, unswerving. Stealth means slyness, sneakiness, cunning, and secretiveness. Steep climb means a very sharp up climb. Steeping clothes in water means soaking. Stellar means pertaining to the stars. Stem means to check the flow. Stem from means arise. The government is trying to stem the rot in the bureaucracy. Would means check the rot. That is the first meaning. Boredom stems from lack of continuous learning. This means arises from. So stem can mean to check something, or stem can also mean to arise from something. Stentorian means extremely loud, a stentorian voice. Stereotyping means having a fixed or unvarying representation, a standardized mental picture. Most North Indians have a stereotype that South Indians are very introverted, and we have other stereotypes regarding people of our own country. So stereotyping means a generalization which is not acceptable, which is not logically provable. A stickler is a perfectionist. I am a stickler for the use of right language. Would mean a perfectionist, a person who insists things be exactly right. Stifle means to suppress or extinguish. Never stifle a sneeze. It can upset the arrangement of cartilage in your nose. Stigma means a token of disgrace or a brand. When you have branded somebody, if you have branded somebody as a traitor, that means he has been given a bad name or disgraced. Stilted diction. Diction is style of speaking or writing. A stilted diction would mean artificial, stiff, and pompous, bombastic, not natural, affected. Declamatory. DECLAMATORY. Speaking in a declamatory tone would mean artificial and stilted. Suppose a person were to be asked to address a huge gathering, or maybe a gathering of ministers or politicians, a very formal occasion. So the person would put on a very declamatory tone, an artificial tone. So stilted and declamatory are synonyms for each other. So declaim means to talk in a very artificial manner. When you declaim against somebody, that means to inveigh or criticize sharply. Stint means to be very thrifty, withholding, and setting limits. Thank you for your unstinted support, which means your support has been continuous. Stint also means supply, supplying an allotted amount, assigned portion. She performed her daily stint cheerfully. I did my stint in the government for 10 years. That means a particular period of time or assigned task or work. Stipend is a pay for services. Stipple means to paint or draw with small dots. Stipulate means to make clearly expressed conditions, specify. Stock means typical. A stock bowler means typical or standard. Stock also means shares and debentures. Stockade means a wooden enclosure or pen, fixed line of posts used as a defensive barrier. Stodgy means stuffy or boringly conservative. Stodgy book means a very boring book. Stodgy food would mean very heavy and bland. Stoic means impassive, unmoved by joy or grief, unruffled. To stoke something up would mean to stir up a fire or feed plentifully. Stolid means dull and impassive. A stratagem is a clever trick or a deceptive scheme. Now, stratagem is a negative word, whereas a strategy is a neutral term. Stratified means divided into classes or layers. Stratification of society means different layers or different castes or whatever. Each one is a layer. A stratum is a layer. To strew something would mean to spread randomly, sprinkle, scatter, or throw in all directions. Striated muscles are marked with parallel bands, grooved. So the antonym for striated would be smooth. A stricture is a critical comment or a severe and adverse criticism. The Supreme Court passed strictures on the lower court. That means severe criticism. Stricture would also mean a constriction in a blood vessel, stricture, constriction. Strident means loud and harsh, insistent as well. Stringent rules are binding and rigid. Strut about means to walk like a peacock, proudly, pompous walk. Swagger, S-W-A-G-G-E-R. Strut also is a supporting bar. A strut is used to support the rafter. Studied expressions are very deliberate, artificial, and unspontaneous. The Prime Minister put on an expression of studied patience, means not natural. Stultify means to cause to appear or become stupid or inconsistent. To stultify a process would mean frustrate or hinder the process. To stultify a negotiation would mean to prevent it from going ahead. Stupefy means to make numb or stun or amaze somebody. Stupor is a state of apathy or a daze, lack of awareness. Stygian means gloomy or pertaining to hell. Stygian shore would mean hell. To stymie somebody, S-T-Y-M-I-E, means to present an obstacle. When you are stymied, it means that you feel some obstacle in your path. To stump, the batsman was stymied or stumped, that means confused or prevented from doing something. Suavity would mean urbanity or polish. A person who is very suave, S-U-A-V-E, is pronounced suave, means polished, urbane, refined, sophisticated. A subaltern means a subordinate. Subdued means less intense, quieter. Subjective means occurring or taking place within the mind. The antonym is objective. To subjugate somebody would mean to conquer or bring under control forcibly. Sublimate means to refine or purify. Sublime means exalted, lofty or noble and uplifting. Subliminal means below the threshold of perception. Below the threshold, something which we will find it difficult to perceive. Submissive, people who are submissive are yielding and timid. Subordinate means occupying a lower rank, inferior. Suborn, S-U-B-O-R-N. Suborn means to persuade somebody to act unlawfully, especially to commit perjury. Perjury, which means to swear falsely under oath. Subpoena, S-U-B-P-O-E-N-A. The B is silent here and it is pronounced as subpoena. Subpoena is a writ summoning a person to appear in court and depose there. D-E-P-O-S-E. Depose means to give evidence. Deposition also means to give evidence, testify. Subsequent means something that follows. Subservient people are behaving like a slave, servile, obsequious, toady and groveling. Subside means settle down, descend, grow quiet. A subsidiary means subordinate or secondary. A subsidy, the government is giving subsidy to farmers, means direct financial aid. Subsistence means existence, means of support. Substantial amount means ample, solid, essential. Substantiate means to establish by evidence, verify, support. Substantive means essential, pertaining to the substance. To subsume something would mean to include or encompass. Resorting to subterfuge. Subterfuge means pretense or evasion. Subtlety means perceptiveness. Subtlety can also mean ingenuity, that means cleverness, or delicacy, which means refinement. Subtle comments are never obvious. They are very finely said and tactfully said. Subversive activities are being undertaken by Naxalites or certain groups, which mean tending to overthrow the government, destructive. Succinct, a comment that is succinct, is brief, terse, and compact. Succor means assistance or comfort. We look for your succor. We thank thee for the succor, which means thank thee for the aid or assistance and comfort. Succulent kebabs are juicy, full of richness and juice. To succumb would mean to yield, give in, die. To succumb to injuries means to die. A suffragist or a suffragist is an advocate of voting rights for women. The suffragette movement was started to ensure that women also get voting rights. Suffuse means to fill up or spread over. Sully, tarnish. Sully means to spoil or tarnish. Unsullied reputation means clean reputation. Sultry weather is sweltering, very hot and torrid. Torrid. But the word torrid also means very passionate. A torrid dance scene or love scene in a movie. Summation means the act of finding the total, summary. Sumptuous meals are very lavish and rich. To sunder a country means to spread, to separate, to rip or rent, R-E-N-T, means to split into two parts. Sundry, all and sundry are getting into politics. Miscellaneous, several, various. Superannuated would mean retired or disqualified because of age. A supercilious smile is an arrogant, condescending, patronizing, haughty. Supercilious means very proud. Supererogatory means superfluous, more than necessary, redundant. Superficial means something that is trivial and shallow. Superfluous is excessive, overabundant. To superimpose something means to place it over something else. For example, in movies there is what is known as a montage technique. M-O-N-T-A-G-E. In movies and in photography. That means superimposition is done. One picture is placed on top of the other. Supernumerary. Supernumerary means a person or thing which is in excess of the necessary number. Extra. Because numerical, numer means number. Supersede means to cause to be set aside, replace, supplant, S-U-P-P-L-A-N-T means replace, or make obsolete. To supersede something would mean to make that thing obsolete. Supine means lying on the back with the face up. Supplant means to replace. Supple means flexible, pliant. Suppliant means entreating or beseeching and requesting. To supplicate means to petition humbly, pray to grant a favor. A supposition is a hypothesis, a surmise, a guesswork. To suppress means to stifle, inhibit, or subdue, or overwhelm. Overwhelm also means to conquer. Surfeit means excess, or satiate. Indulge to excess in anything would mean to surfeit. Surly means very rude and cross. Surmise is guess or extrapolation. Extrapolation, P-O-L-A-T-I-O-N, extra. So extrapolation also means guesswork, estimating something unknown using known values. Surmount means to overcome. Surpass means to exceed. Surreptitious talks or surreptitious movements are secret, furtive, sneaky, hidden. Surrogate mother means a substitute. Surveillance means reconnaissance, watching, guarding. Reconnoiter, recce, scout. So reconnaissance means surveying enemy territory. Surveillance means watching. Susceptible means vulnerable, impressionable, easily influenced, having little resistance. So the antonym for susceptible and vulnerable is immune. To sustain means to experience or support, nourish. How do you sustain on such a light breakfast? Means how do you manage? Sustenance means means of support. food or nourishment. A suture is stitches sewn to hold the cut edges of a wound or an incision. A suture is a stitch. Swarthy young man means dark and dusky, dark skinned. To swathe something means the baby was swathed in fresh linen. That means wrapped around or rolled up in or bandaged in rather. Swelter. Swelter means be oppressed by heat. Swerve means to deviate from the track. Turn aside sharply. Veer. Veer. And lurch